also definition of what a travel is. It's not really a segmentation. The travel is all this. I have a departure point. I can look outside. I can be inside, but I wish at final position. Because all it's the kind of level. I would like to go from this to here, but I can master myself, my travel. Is it clear? So every element here is important. I can look outside, I can look inside, I can be inside, I can master my travel. So the kind of continuity is like, but I can travel inside my travel, for example. Okay? So that's how the imaginary is imaginary of the Croisière. I'm inside the bus, but I'm not really inside the bus. That's it. It's like kind of I like to move. I tell, but my aim here is to move the difficulties or the content of the travel. I don't like to talk about travel when I travel. That's it. Is it clear? Well, I travel, but I have to move what the travel is. Like a croisière, you know, when you take a huge boat just to travel around. I don't know when you are traveling here. Here you travel the croisière in France, la Méditerranée, you know. But here, what do you have here for? Do you have this kind of thing here? La croisière. Comment on appelle ça, les bateaux de croisière?
Cruzeiro.
Cruzeiro, see. Like this. When you are in croisière, you don't care about the travel. You are. You don't care about the beginning or the end. You know that you are going to reach somewhere, but it doesn't care. And you have all it's like somewhere where to stay yourself, to play, and to do what you like. So let me see what I would like to talk about by doing this kind of analysis and by trust yourself that what you analyze is codification. And this codification has a basis. Not naturally you reach for the imaginary. And this is very important when you are in front of marketers. That's what I call kind of le mode mineur, okay? Kind of other thing, it's autre chose. I analyze verses that they are not verses they talk me about. And that's why how you perceive object. You don't perceive object from their structure, strong structure. You perceive object as something talk me about me. And here, talk me about me. So, how I know the last one, this one. Here, when you travel here, we are not in croisière. You can tell me you are in. Okay, it's okay. You are not in croisière. So we have kind of vertical line by kind of oblique. I don't know how we call it in English. Okay, curved line. They are kind of. It's a look. This object is ending. It's closed. Every time you have kind of performance, you know, here. Okay, the surfaces are well marked. This is the bag, and every zone has its personality. This I would like to talk about the zone of the travelers. Is here. This is the zone of the traveler. Okay? This is the zone of when I can go. This is the door. This is the engine. We have this kind of hard definition. Everything is very, very identifiable. Okay? What you have here, you have something which is very, very, very secure and very, very performant. Is powerful. You have here kind of. We talk about the distance. We are with this because we are going to make a long travel, long trip. That's what we have here. Okay? It's like this car is take travelers as a kind of product to put inside. You don't take the car, you are loading inside the car. It's like kind of a boom. It's like a kind of storage, you know. You're not in a car, you are in a storage. And because you have to go very far from where you live. It's like you change life, like Alexander. You are going to France, and you need this kind of goal. Okay. So we have to be powerful, because you need something powerful who will secure all what you put inside. That's what I tell you, you are looking as kind of the thing that they put inside. Okay, so sit down, when we are going to talk about what travel is. So let's go. Wow, for example. So we have this kind of information. Here, it's like what's important here is the fact that is a kind of exploration you have. You are here, the autobus is here, and sometimes here is a kind of a target. Okay? It's like what's important here is the direction. Only direction. That is. So every step is very important. Everything. So that's the step part. Everything is very important. So every step is very important. That's it. How is target, and you have to perform to reach or to have this target. It's clear. So what I'm already doing here, on a fait ce qu'on appelle la sémétrie de l'espace. Symmetry of spaces, I don't know if you can say it like this. So only by talking about the buses. What's the relationship between the buses? The buses is something to explore the spaces. But my point is, how can I go from the design to understand this? So I need to tell myself that it's an event. I perceive something, and the form who has built to create this thing are close to what I perceive. That's it. Okay. Okay, but after that, this was kind of resume, summary, to talk with the strategic from DTGD. Okay, what do you want? Do you want this, or this, or this? Okay, where are your values at the end? Okay, I have this here. What are the values at the end? Okay, their answer was, we would like to, their answer at the end, with their answer itself. They would like to talk about tourism because it's about business. So they would like to see themselves as professional of our job is to bring people in a railway station and to bring them, go to the house. But we like them to be comfort. So they wasn't there because we don't want to close you. They was there, we like to rationalize. What we like to sell is the travel as something very rationalized. We bring you at home, but you have everything you like to inside. What was not the position of other companies. So they chose this. Okay. We would like to talk about services because for them, the services was very close to the need of their travelers. That's it. That's how we can help by talking by daily life. It's clear. So we have the structure and have to try to understand how to move from the structure to talk about these things. In the analysis you know how to do. But what I would like to say, you have to move from what's generative to go to, okay, I can talk about the end result. That was my second case. Ça va, c'est clair? So voilà ce que je voulais dire. The plastic is very important, so we have the chance to study ceramic here in Brazil. We're not one university in the world who work like this. So, voilà, qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On fait une petite pause? Voilà, do you have question? Do you understand what I say? It's a kind of process, intellectual process. When you start to master, you can sell, you can sell semiotics as well. I can earn a lot of money by selling semiotics. That was my first life. But when I decided to go to university, I started to become poor. But now that's it. I'm a civil servant. When I was in business, I was a little bit rich, but now I ended it. That's it. Okay. Yes.
I would like to know if you have written an article about this.
No, that's my problem. I don't really, because this was for consultancy for business. I didn't know, but I can write an article to talk about this thing. But I need a review asks me to write an article, but every time Anatolia asks me to write an article about this kind of thing, or you understand too. But sometimes I don't really know how to translate. If I start to write an article, don't have the same, don't have the same taste. When you write article from this, because you have to talk about theoretical things and like that, and it becomes boring. But if you are able to publish this as this, okay, I'm okay.
No.
No, you can't, because we are in intellectual way.
You
So,
must do a reform.
yeah, to make it be very more readable. So, but I can write this. But it's very important for the Semiotique de l'espace. It's very important to talk about the point. How do you master the space as steps, as point, as inside, outside? You have a real semiotic question here to solve. But I will make it for I will write an article just for you.
Will you plan?
Yes, I'm going to write an article. But what I would like to say is that it's not because this kind of analysis doesn't mean that don't do semiotics. It's real and very nice semiotics. I have many propositions of semiotic of space. Clear. Okay? And here also for the social we have, but you can know how to do it. How we can have also information here how to construct the identities of travelers or the identities in general. What's an identity? And how objects build your identity. This is my other way of research. I'm working for elders, the aging people. Okay? And what's important for them is how, well, I will talk about that yesterday, I don't know, in the colloquium, is to know how the objects slowly construct our identities. We call it a dispositif. For example, today we act because the objects of order or some dispositif ask us to act like in this way or in this way. So we have a semiotic issue to develop there. When you talk about aging people for their autonomy, what's important is how the dispositif who are given to them start to construct their identity. It's like you start to move from a total human being and became a kind of object human being. Okay, it's kind of so it's very important too. So how an object can be used to construct my identity. That's very important too as question. So it's the subject of I will read you an article I wrote just after the pause, okay? After the break, I will read you an article I wrote about what I talked yesterday about the solutionism. Is the way how the object try to give us a new identity. But all we see is that kind of it's not really, it's like we are on what we call artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence try to define us as something artificial. But by using very logical reasoning. But all we say is that human being is not logic. If we like to define human being, forget logic. So I would like to talk about that after the break. Okay. Do you have questions for this? Was it clear? Okay. So break to drink water or something else, but not maracuja or something like caipirinha. It made me sick yesterday, but very tired. It's the fault of Alexandre. That's me. Just go and drink. So, I'm not really strong. Okay. Voilà.